Hi everybody, today we're going to look at another one of those Motormax Forgotten Classics Series 1/24th scale die-cast model cars. This is a 1974 Chevy Vega GT in metallic blue with white stripes. If this looks familiar, that's because we've already looked at one Chevy Vega, and that was a 1974 Chevy Vega in red, not a GT. And certainly not with a metallic blue paint job. If you've seen that video, you already know this. If you haven't, you can go watch it, or not, that's up to you. But I've never really owned a Chevy Vega. My sister had a Vega, my older sister. If you remember, it was antifreeze green. Anytime she had a radiator leak, it looked like the car was bleeding. Bleeding green, like an alien. Anytime I was looking for an American-made vehicle of this size, I went with the Mercury Comet or the Ford Maverick. Or in Japanese cars, I went with the Datsun 210 or the Toyota Celica. And I was really a big fan of the Toyota Corona and the Corona wagons. I've had a couple of those over the years. I mean, way long time ago. Why have I had so many cars over the years? Because this is back when you spent $300-400, couple $100 on a car, and it might have only ran a year or two. Or you would upgrade. And I really didn't have a lot of room to store cars. There was a time that I lived in a duplex and I only had 2 parking spots, but I had 4 vehicles. An early 70s, I don't remember, 74, 72 Ford Club Wagon. It's the Econoline van, the one with the windows in it, the longer one. A 1963 Galaxy 500 XL, very super cool car. A 1962 Mercury Meteor S33, another super cool car. And then I had a 1962 Mercury Meteor 4-door, which I used as a parts car for that. They were all running. I could drive any one of them. I had that crappy insurance that went with my driver's license, so no matter what I drove, it wasn't full coverage, it was liability only, so no matter what I drove, I was covered. But when you have 2 parking places and you have to park vehicles out on the street, one of my 1962 Mercury Meteors, the 4-door, thank goodness, got rear-ended one Halloween night by a very cool, sporty-looking Ford Maverick. And somebody put some real money into it. It was yellow with the black vinyl top, had nice rims on it, and he hit my car so hard that his fender and his wheel, instead of facing forward, the one on the passenger side, it had wrapped all around and was facing backwards. That's how hard he hit my car. And then he took off and hit and run, and then the cops came, and the cops apparently didn't care that he did a hit and run, but they gave me his address. I went over there, I made a payment schedule with him, and I never heard from him again. Yeah, so you can't have more vehicles than parking places, especially if you're a renter. And if you have something really cool, like if I still had that Mercury Meteor S33, it would be in the garage, right next to the Galaxy 500 XL. They made around 2 million of the Chevy Vegas. That's how many were produced. They were produced from 1970 to 1977. You could get them in a 2-door notchback, a 2-door hatchback, a 2-door station wagon, and they even made a 2-door panel delivery vehicle. Kind of similar to what Ford did with their Pinto wagons. The predecessor to this, the vehicle that Chevy had before this, of similar size, was the Chevy Corvair. Actually had a chance to get one of those from a buddy. I just never picked it up. Didn't get it. Girlfriend didn't want me to get it. Corvair, unsafe at any speed. Yeah, they were cool looking. And then, the successor to this, the vehicle that came after this, was the Chevy Monza. And I had a friend in high school, she had a very cool Chevy Monza Spider. And if you know anything about the Chevy Monzas, there were some that were really cool, there were some that just totally sucked. But if you had the V8 in there, you just could not get to those rear spark plugs. That engine was just so tight in there. And it was to the extent that some people would actually have to loosen the motor mounts and tilt the engine to get to that spark plug, unless you were really good. The standard engine for the Vega was the 140 cubic inch inline 4, aluminum block, with a cast iron cylinder head. And though the standard engine was that little 4-banger, they did have some V8s. Something really cool, if you go to Wikipedia, to the Chevy Vega, they have a picture there of the Southern Pacific Railroad's Vertipack. They transported these on trains vertically, standing up and down. I've never seen it in real life, but just seeing the picture, wow, it is pretty weird looking. And admittedly, I don't know a lot about the Chevy Vegas or the Vega GT package. As near as I can tell, it just had a better exhaust system, a better transmission, but not necessarily a better engine. And really, the Vegas were known for having problems just across the board. Maybe that's why there's not a lot of them out there. Yeah, I don't know. Would I get a Chevy Vega? Look, if some dude was selling a Chevy Vega, if you do a search, there's people selling them. They're modified. They got V8s in them. They got suspension from Chevy Monzas, more modern suspension. Yes, I would probably pick up a custom Chevy Vega, but I wouldn't want an original. Like I said, back then, you're going to want to go with the Maverick, the Duster, the Valiant, the Dodge Dart, not the Vega. And really, back in those years when it came to small cars, you couldn't beat the quality of the Japanese cars. Certainly for mileage. All right, what do you think? Is this a cool car or not? Have you ever heard of the Chevy Vega? Are you familiar with the Vega GT package? I really wasn't, but if you think about it, you can put GT pretty much on anything. The Camaro GT. The Toyota Supra GT. Are those real packages? I don't know, but you could put GT on anything, like my Mustang GT. All right, leave your comments in the comment section. As always, thanks for watching.
Beanmeister 22, the most dangerous man on YouTube.